Guys, it's Kelly and I am back with another video. This video is actually sponsored by Simon Says Stamp. We are going to be using this Easter set by them. It actually came out last year. And then we're also going to be using some watercolors. So I decided it's Easter, and if you're Christian like I am, it's a celebration of Jesus returning. So I wanted to do a card that was specifically about that, celebrating that part of my faith. So I wanted to try, and Lord help us, I wanted to try doing a watercolor background. So what I've done is I'm working on Canson watercolor paper. I taped it down, and then I just am putting down clean, clear water with a wide, flat brush. That's all I'm doing. I'm not going out to the edges. I knew the edges were going to be imperfect. I was totally okay with that. So they discovered Jesus' tomb was empty in the morning. He had risen in the morning. So I wanted to do a sunrise picture. And for me, I find it easiest anytime I'm trying to do something like this, landscapes, to do water, to do a reflection. And so if you decide to try this, start there, because I am not any kind of watercolor artist like whatsoever, and I was still really pleased with the way that this came out. So the brown that you see in the middle is going to be land mass. And the thing with watercolors is it's all about building up the color. The thing about reflections is whatever is in the sky is going to be reflected in the water. So everything is basically just a mirror image of what is up above it, which is why they're so easy to paint. So I started with the yellow, which was more toward the land, and then was working up into oranges and like a pinkish red and then a purple. So I had Googled before I started, some sunrise photos, and I had found one that I really liked. It had a lot of very similar colors, so that's kind of where I got the color palette from. But you can do whatever makes you happy. You've heard me say that before. So I'm working with these Cotman tube paints, and it has like 2 inserts in it that you can just pull out. So I just pulled out one of those, put my colors down, and then I mixed the cerulean and the I think it's cadmium. No, that's not right. Can't remember what the red's called. Is it crimson? Forgive me. We're gonna look while we do this. See, it's like being live right here in my craft room. Because I can't remember anything. I also cannot get this open. But anyway, so watercolors is all about it's crimson. So it's all about building up the colors, which I really, really struggle with. And so I put down a lot of water to begin with, and it was getting out to my edges, and so I just took a dry cloth and kind of sopped that up, because I knew I was going to be putting down more color anyway, so no fear about sucking up any pigment. So I put down just a base coat, a very, very light base coat, and then I'm just going to go back in and add in a little bit more brown. That's the part that I wanted to be the darkest, and then I'm going to heat set it. And don't worry, we're not done. I know it looks it looks crazy right now, but just kind of bear with me. It will get better. And if you're doing this on your own, if you're trying it right along with me, you decide to, you stumble upon the video and you decide you want to try it, be patient with yourself too, because it only will get better as you go. So this time I'm not using any water down on the paper. I'm not doing what they call wet on wet. I am just putting a wet brush on dry paper. So my color is substantially more intense. But I'm doing the same thing that I did before as far as the colors. Nothing's changed there. I'm going from the brown to the yellow to the orange to the pink to the purple. So this video is normally, like when I do my Copic cards, when I upload the video, because I tape everything and then I edit it down, so they're, usually between 15 and 20 minutes. This whole card took me 30 minutes. Like when I uploaded it, it was only 30 minutes. So they are super quick. If this was like you were looking to put together a card set, this would be a great way to go about it. Like just doing landscapes, and no two are ever going to be the same. Even if they're painted by the same artist, they're never going to look identical. It's just impossible to recreate it. So I wanted my colors to kind of flow together, so I'm being careful to mix those edges. The other thing that I struggled with was trying to make sure I didn't have too much water on my brush, and periodically you'll see like my brush kind of disappear off the side. And what I'm doing when you can't see me, which I apologize, there's just not enough room on the camera, is I am blotting off my brush. And in order to get the water off but not the pigment, I'm actually placing the base of my brush, the bristles, onto just a dry cloth, not the tip, just the base. And then that sucks up a lot of water. And I feel like, I can go back without having to reload. The only thing you have to kind of pay attention to, and really I don't even know if it's that important, I'm not going to lie, when you're doing a reflection, is that it should be a mirror reflection. So however things look in the sky, you'll see me, kind of pointing my paintbrush up, trying to get a visual about where the lines should be, so that they do, I mean, it's not going to be a perfect match, but at least so they're somewhat similar. And again, I don't really know how important that is. I felt like it looked weird when they didn't match. The one part I will tell you that is important is definitely that landmass. The shape, because it is so close, it's the quote unquote water's edge. The reflection there should match as close as you can get it. So I'm just, picking up more color and building up that intensity. I am a fan of brighter colors. So this was something, I knew I probably wasn't going to be happy with it without 2 or 3 layers. And I think 3 is what I ended up committing to, was 3 complete layers. And see here, there's one of those situations where I had too much water on my brush and I just had to blot it off on the edge. And I'm going to make that landmass just a little bit darker. I will tell you, after the card was all said and done, I wished that I had gone a little darker with the reflection of the land. I wish I wouldn't have been so hesitant with it. I wanted a clear delineation of where the actual land started versus its reflection, and I think that I was a little too light with it. I think I would have been better served if it was a little bit darker. And also this orange is super, super vibrant. It seems like no matter how much water I put down in the palette to kind of lighten it up, it was still super vibrant the whole time. Which, I mean, it ended up being okay for this. I don't know what I would do if I was trying to actually go for a more pastel look. I might be in trouble. But I like the way that this came out. I like obviously the message. That's something that's very important to me. And those of you who watch my periscopes know that I am not perfect. I saw a meme the one time that said church is not a what did it say? Church is not a club for saints, it's a meeting place for sinners, and I'm a firm believer of that for sure. So this was just something that was important to me to do, and I really liked how it was kind of messy around the edges. It's the beauty in things is in the imperfections. So I pulled it off the board and I trimmed it down, and then I'm using a white gel pen to just kind of add some dashed lines in there for to kind of like infuse some movement into it. And again, if I was probably more experienced with watercolor, I probably could have done it there, but I'm not. So I fall back on the tools that I know. I'm adding some clear Wink of Stella just to the reflection, the water portion of it, because everything should have shimmer, including the celebration of Jesus. And then this set has so many beautiful crosses in it and such wonderful sayings, but I wanted just this simple cross. I felt like that was enough to be the focal point. and then this sentiment, which I absolutely adore since he is risen. And I'm using Simon Says Stamp black dye ink. This stamps so with the sentiment's so crisp, and I love that. So it felt like the cross was a little dark comparative to the landmass, so I'm going in with my Copics and adding a little bit of shading. Now, this is the finished card. However, I realized after I turned off the camera that this whole card is about reflections, and that cross has no reflection, and the landmass reflection is really light. So I actually ended up going back in with my Copics and adding some more for the landmass reflection, and then also I used a C3 to just do the cross, which is really easy to draw in because it's just a cross. So thank you guys so much for joining me, and I hope that you have a blessed Easter, and I will catch you on the next video. Bye.